Good morning, Monarchs, and welcome to the first video for lesson 5.3. Today we're going to be talking about the slope of a line. So we're going to be talking about slope. So that is our keyword right there, slope. So a slope is the rate at which, or the amount of which a line goes up or down. Okay, that's going to be our slope. Okay, so we have a really important definition that we're going to use a ton throughout the next few units, okay? And it's what's called our slope formula. So slope equals, this is our slope formula, right? It's another word for slope, and this is really important because we use this all the time. Another way we write slope is m. So usually when I refer to slope, I will call it your m, okay? So I would say you need to find your m. I will say slope as well, but anytime I say you need to find your m, just know we are talking about slope, okay? And the definition of slope is rise over run. So it's the change in y basically over the change in x. So how much your line goes up, so how many units it goes up on the y-axis over how many units it goes to right or left on the x-axis. That's what rise over run is, okay? And then our equation is up here, okay? We have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is our slope formula. We will use that a ton, okay? You will be given 2 points, and you will have to find the slope of the line that passes through the 2 points. So we will do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which will give us our change in y. That triangle is called a delta. It just means a change. So you read that change in y over delta x, or change in x, okay? So slope is rise over run, and we find it, we also call it m, your m, right? So m is slope. And we also say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is our slope formula, okay? So we will need to know all of these as they're all incredibly important. This is an incredibly important formula, okay? So we have a few different types of slopes we're going to talk about, okay? A positive slope, okay? We have a positive slope right here. A positive slope is one that rises from left to right, okay? A positive slope rises from left to right. Anytime something is positive, it's generally good, right? It uplifts your spirit, it rises your spirit. Just like when I put my finger on this, if I go from left to right, my finger rises, right? That's why I know it's a positive slope. Anytime my finger goes up when I go from left to right, it's a positive slope. Then we have a negative slope. Okay, we have a negative slope. A negative slope falls from left to right. So if I was to put my finger on this line and go from left to right and trace it with my finger, I would see my finger goes down or falls. So I know that that is a negative slope, okay? Then we have zero slope. Zero slope is when something doesn't go up or down at all. It is completely flat. So when I raise my finger, when I run my finger across it, it just stays completely flat, okay? And then we have what's called an undefined slope. So an undefined slope is just straight up and down. We would say the slope is undefined because you cannot have a slope of something if you can't stand on it, right? If I was walking, if this was a street, I could stand on this. I could stand on this. I could easily stand on that because it's flat, right? But I cannot stand on this because it's straight up and down. So I know that this slope would be undefined, okay? Okay, so moving on to our different examples. The first thing it wants us to do, we are going to find the slope of the line passing through 3, negative 3, comma 2, and 1, comma negative 4, okay? So I'm going to highlight my x's in yellow and highlight my y's in orange, okay? And then this is extremely important. I would say this is probably the most important part of this lesson, is that we know how to label each of these points, okay? So this is going to be our first set of points. So this is our first x, so we call it x1, okay? This is our first y, so we call it y1, okay? This is our second point, so this is our second x value, so we call this x2. And this is our second y value, so we call this y2. Okay, you can see how I labeled that. We go x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so just like over here, we have negative 3, comma 2. We have x1, y1, 1, comma negative 4, x2, y2. And I'll highlight those just to show you, see that we can see that they're the same. Okay, so all my x's are in yellow and all my y's are going to be in orange. Okay. Okay. So in the next video, we will go over how to find the slope of this line, and then we will do another example. So please stay tuned for the next video.